Hello and welcome to the Radiant Rebels Power Reclamation, day number 2. I'm Dr. Kate Thomas. I'm the Luxury Witch and Magical Energy Strategist. So I work with women to help them rise into higher states of consciousness and to help them step into their intrinsic power. Now, today we're going to be looking at the second secret that I have used in order to create and manifest a life that truly nourishes my soul. And this second secret is something that you, if you've come across me before or come across my work, will know I am very passionate about. And that is the second secret to creating a joy-filled life is not giving a fuck. Now, this might seem like a really straightforward and perhaps even kind of irresponsible attitude to have, but I assure you it is neither of those things. To some extent it's straightforward. What I'm going to be teaching you and encouraging you to do is to stop caring about other people's opinion of you. But it's not actually very straightforward in its action. So in order to actually truly not give a fuck, we have to make quite a significant psychological shift. Now, this psychological shift is absolutely possible. It's completely doable. I strongly encourage you to do it, but it does require practice. Like everything, we need to change how we think about things. We need to change how we understand and how we see certain situations and our response to situations. And changing how we respond to things requires repeated practice again and again. And when it comes to not giving a fuck, that is absolutely the case. Don't expect yourself to be able to instantly, overnight, after watching this 10-minute video, to be able to say, okay, I'm going to go out into the world and I'm going to stop giving a fuck about what people think. By all means, go ahead and do that. But don't be surprised if you find it challenging and anxious making, and that if it takes a couple of weeks or even a couple of months to settle. Now, let's be really clear. What I'm not saying is you should stop giving a shit about your life. Absolutely not. This is not an encouragement for you to stop caring about decisions and choices that you make. This is not me encouraging you to sort of give up on anything. The only thing I'm encouraging you to let go of is other people's judgment of you and your decisions. Now, those of us that have been brought up as women have been told from the day of our birth that other people's opinions of how we behave, how we speak, how we dress, and how we act is of prime importance to us. And this is a really damaging lie that we have been taught. It is the case that the majority of us that have been brought up as women are deeply, deeply sensitive to and aware of how we are perceived by others. Now, this has good and bad sides to it. The good sides is that we are generally much more sensitive to other people's emotions. We're much more sensitive to how other people are responding to us. We have an ability, therefore, to make other people feel much more comfortable in our presence. We can behave by speaking, by our tone of voice, by how we dress, by how we stand, by our body language, to make other people have a very particular response to us. Now, of course, this is beneficial and it can be hugely useful. But the downside of this ability and the downside of having other people's opinion and judgment of us be so conscious in our minds is that it prevents us, it stunts us, it stops us from making choices and decisions that are really truly good for ourselves. If we constantly have other people's ideas of us or other people's concerns as the priority in our decision-making process, or just in general in our experience of living, then we are going to be never prioritizing ourselves and never able, therefore, to be creating the life that we personally want. It makes a big difference if I care about a whole collection of people's opinion of me, or whether I have sat down and intentionally chosen whose opinion I want to listen to, who it is that I truly respect, and who, through a process of discernment, I decide actually I want their judgment on my choices and decisions. Now, if I am just going through my life listening to and paying attention to every single person that I encounter's opinion of who I am, how I speak, what I wear, and the decisions and choices I make in my life, then frankly, my energy is going to be completely scattered. I'm not going to be able to make clear, easy decisions about anything because I will always feel this pressure to canvass opinion from all sorts of different sources. If, however, I know my own mind, I know who I am at a deep level, and I know the decision that I need to make in order to move my life closer to that which I want, and I don't really care at a big level what anyone else may think about that, then obviously my energy is going to be clearly focused in one direction, and my progress through life is going to be fast and efficient and quick. Do you ever wonder why men find it so much easier to make decisions than women? Well, a major part of why that is because men are not socialized to give a shit about what other people think about them. They're just not. Whereas we, as women, are completely socialized to care what everybody thinks. It matters to us whether somebody disapproves of what we're wearing. It matters to us whether somebody disapproves of the language that we use. It matters to us whether people think that we're being polite or rude. And the reality is, if we have any hope of creating a life, a business, an entire existence in this world where we feel joy and we feel authentic and we feel is in alignment with who we truly are, then we have got to stop giving a fuck. We have to stop giving a fuck about what these other various people, whoever the hell they may be, care about or think about or what their judgment is of us. We have to release that desire to please other people. And the secret that I want to let you in on is not only do we have to give up this desire to give a fuck, not only do we have to give up this desire to be palatable to other people, but we actually have to realize that we will never be palatable to everyone. There will never be a situation, it doesn't matter what you look like, how you dress, the language you use, it doesn't matter what you do or how much you give. There will never be a time where you are pleasing everyone. And so doesn't it make so much more sense to tap into the truth of who you are, to tap into the authentic clarity of what you actually want personally, and then choose who you want to give a fuck about, to choose whose judgment you should listen to? It's such a simple shift, and yet it is such a life-changing, revelatory shift when you start putting this into practice. If you were able to tap into your deep knowing of who you are and how you want to show up in the world, and then followed that up with, showed up for, and backed up that clarity by deciding to not care what other people who you don't care about think of you, your life would rapidly, rapidly ascend. And this is what I'm inviting you to do. Over this next week, start paying attention to that internal narrative that's telling you, I shouldn't wear that, or I shouldn't use that language, or I shouldn't say that thing, or I shouldn't say no to this thing that's being requested of me. Every time you recognize this internal narrative popping up that's encouraging you to pay attention to the judgment of other people, just turn the volume down. Literally visualize that volume knob, and every time you hear that internal narrative encouraging you to make a decision or adapt your behavior or change your words or change your language or change how you're dressing or change how you're standing in order to make other people comfortable or yourself to be under less judgment, just turn that volume down. Instead of being concerned about always being polite, make your concern that of always being kind and authentic. There is a phrase that I really love. I love it so much, in fact, that I've had tattooed on my arm, which is fuck politeness. Now, what I mean by fuck politeness is fuck that culturally and socially endorsed pressure that is put on women from the day of our birth that says that we must prioritize being polite above everything else. And politeness in this context always means being socially acceptable, being approved of. I am over being socially acceptable. I am over being approved of. I don't give a fuck who thinks I am vulgar or loud or too glamorous or too tall or that I wear clothing that they disapprove of. I don't care. And the fuck politeness that I want you to partake in is to say fuck a culture and a society that says to women that we must be polite above being safe, that says that we must be polite above being authentic and honest and true. I am over politeness. That does not mean that I am rude. It just means that I am not going to be prioritizing other people's opinions of me over my own opinion of myself and decisions that lead me to creating a life and business that nourishes my soul. And I want to really invite you this week to do two things. Every time you feel this narrative popping up, suggesting that you adapt your behavior or your dress or your tone of voice or your language to make yourself more palatable or more approving of by other people, I want you to turn that dial down. Literally visualize it like it's a volume. Just turn the volume of that narrative, of that internal voice, encouraging you to adapt your behavior to make it more socially acceptable, down. The second thing I want to invite you to do is recognize when this pressure to be polite and to make people approve of you and to get the approval from people you don't even know, let alone care about, by adapting your behavior and not being authentic. Start recognizing how regularly this shows up for you and push against it, reject it. Every time you feel that pressure to not say the thing you need to say, acknowledge it and say it anyway. This seems like a really simple and straightforward process, but believe me, when you start doing this on the regular, when you start showing up for yourself, for your authentic self, and you stop people pleasing, your whole life changes. Now, two things are going to happen when you start establishing boundaries in this way, and you start showing up for yourself in this way, and you start showing some level of discernment about whose opinion you actually give a shit about. The first thing is most people are probably going to be quite surprised and shocked about this new way of you engaging with them. This change in how people respond to you goes both ways. Certain people that are used to women being submissive, used to women doing what they think that they should be doing, are going to have a problem with you. And you're probably going to find that you probably over the course of a couple of months of consistently showing up, not as the subservient people pleaser, you're going to lose some friends. And I'm using air quotes because those were never friends in the first place. The second thing that's going to happen when you start showing up regularly in this way for yourself is you're going to make some really good friends. You're going to draw into your life women, other people who are equally in alignment with their authenticity, that want you to be honest and real and want the true real version of you, not the people-pleasing, passive-aggressive, the weak version of what you really want to say and do, but the truthful, honest, in her power woman that you truly have the capacity to be. Now, these two things of losing the people that are effectively just parasites on your good nature and bringing in people and energies and a whole collection of new experiences with those people and energies that want you to show up in your full power, it's going to change your life. Powerful woman, if you are ready to heal, to ascend, and to start manifesting and creating a life and business that truly is in alignment with your soul, that nourishes who you are at a deep level, then let's start with a chat. And don't worry, I do not do high pressure sales. It is not my style and I do not need to do it, frankly. But I do very much believe in the power of resonance. So if anything that we've discussed today, that I've shared with you today, rings true to you, if it has struck a chord with some part of you, then two things I would say about that. The first is, now is the time for you to start backing yourself. And backing yourself means what it looks like is listening to this part of you that is the divine, that is within you, that wants to show up in her full glory, and support that part of yourself any way you can. If you reach out to me either by replying to this email or commenting on the video beneath, I will, or one of my team will reach out to you and we will set up a chat. And I can see if I can help you, how we can work together to create a life that you truly deserve, just like I've helped so many other women before you. I hope you have an amazing and power-filled week, and I can't wait to speak with you tomorrow.